I actually have some students who are no longer with us still calling me
Oh, wow.
because I was that first, I came from a foreign country. I've never been here. Oh my God, what am I
Hmm.
doing? And like, where do I go and who do I run to?
Yeah, you're the place of peace.
And I said,
Yeah.
no brain surgery is being done here. Nobody's just called
Yeah.
Julia. And I always tell them, if you panic and you don't know something, which is normal, it all happens to all of us, just call me. No
Awesome.
matter what time it is, no matter where you are, just call me. And I usually pick up the phone. I guess because I'm a mom, I always pick up the phone. So, and it's the same. It applies to all of our students. Just call me, and I'll be there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Learning podcast. My guest here today is Julia, who is Executive Director and founder of the International School of Advanced Learning. Julia, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's pleasure is all mine.
100%. And tell everyone a little bit more about the business, who you guys are, who you help, and what you're all about. And maybe a little bit, actually, kind of how this whole thing started.
It's been a while since we started. We first opened back in, as I call it, like last century, is in 2012, 13. We started the company, and we've been operating ever since. And it's been quite a interesting ride.
Hmm.
Our main goal is to provide interesting English and cultural classes to foreigners who want to come to the United States and learn not only the language but also the true cultural experience of being in the States. And especially since we're in Boston, and Boston, I think, is the best city in the United States. Um, so they get the full exposure to the beauty of the city and a very quality English learning language
Hmm.
classes.
Hmm. Would you say then, as people are coming to to the business and they're signing up like, hey, here's some, this is something that I'm actually very interested in, would you say that the majority of them have the highest interest in the English language, the culture, or actually just having the opportunity to study abroad? Is there a balance in between those as well, or
It's
no?
actually it's both. A lot
Okay.
of them, since it's all foreigners from, we have people from all over the world, literally, and in some countries they have this
Hmm.
um, interesting idea about United States that is far, often or sometimes is far away from reality. So
Yeah.
for some of them to actually come here, it's a very privileged and prestigious opportunity um, to see for themselves
Hmm.
and to experience it and to learn the language. And we have students who are continuing their education and applying to colleges and universities. We
Mm.
have people who are working for international companies and get promoted.
Mm.
We have students who are going back to their countries and passing the English test and avoiding paying extra to take English in their colleges and universities. So
Hmm.
it's a huge um, population of people with different. Some people just want to stay. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
they
sure.
they love it so much that they continue their education, they get jobs, and they stay in the country.
Hmm. What do you think makes it so different in the environment that you guys are able to provide that doesn't happen where, I guess, online or in any other places where they're just trying to learn English and learn a little bit more about the culture, and maybe they can get the opportunity to live in the U.S. What do you think is that difference for the differentiator for you?
So our classes are fully in person.
Mm.
So students from all over the world have to mingle during the breaks, and their common language is English.
Hmm.
No matter how difficult it is for them, and they want, and we see it's an amazing feeling to see people from all over the world speaking English to each other,
Hmm.
and that's and a lot of them are saying that's wonderful because that's what pushes them outside of their comfort zone,
Hmm.
and they're not only learning English but they're also learning about other countries and
Yeah.
other cultures which they would not have that opportunity. Sometimes we have potlucks and people bring food from all over the world, and it's just
I've always loved those. Those are so fun. Yeah.
yes, yeah, it's just amazing. And um, and we our particular school is very strict on education, and
Mm.
it's known in the area that if you want to learn the language, you have to go to ISAL.
Mm-hmm.
We're very strict. If people don't show up, we call them. If they don't do their homework, we call, even though we're serving the adults. But I would call and say, "Oh, you weren't in class. What happened? Or you didn't do your homework, or you didn't submit the assignment." They get notices, so they know it's no joke, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the only. I mean, that's the only way to learn. To learn something. To
Yeah.
learn a language is very hard, and if you don't do it consistently with in systematically, it does. There's no miracles. There's no
Mm-hmm.
button. There's no pill that I can give. Like there's nothing like this. It's a lot of hard work
Yeah.
and showing up. And
Mm.
when once they realize that, and I would we would have people come into the office and say, "Oh, you were right. You were right. I yes, I especially when people who came in first and had could not even answer the question, "What is your name?" would
Mm-hmm.
come in and they would speak to you or they would argue with you. And then it's like, I would like interrupt, say, "Excuse me." And it's like, "What? You're arguing with me?" "Yeah, but you're arguing with me in English." And they're like, they start laughing because, but yes, I'm arguing with you in English. I said, "You can argue with me all you want, but you speak
Yeah.
English."
Perfect.
So that's yeah. So that in person strict education and
Mm-hmm.
constant human interaction is
That's
is
awesome. Yeah, it sounds like the immersion is such a different. I think it's for anything, but I think English or learning a new language especially because it's the immersion and the intention and the intensity behind it. Three
yes,
eyes. I didn't plan that, I swear. But immersion, intention, and intensity, right?
yes,
Because
yeah,
if you
that's
throw
correct.
yourself in there,
That's a good marketing.
I know. Yeah, I'm gonna note that down. Immersion,
Yeah,
intention, intensity. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think that's so key because I also had to learn English. So English is my second language, and if I did not have the opportunity to throw myself in there and just figure it out, I would have never learned as fast or as well as I was able to. And so I really, really think it's so awesome that you brought up those points
Yeah.
there
It's
as
stepping
well.
outside of your comfort zone. If you're
Yeah.
comfortable in, like with everything, you're not learning. If you're pushing yourself, and
Hmm.
because often we get the question that is being asked, "How am I going to learn English if I don't speak English?
Mm.
If you don't speak my language?" I said, "You'll." And then they kept, "Oh yeah, yeah," and they realized, yes, it's possible if it's done correctly. They're learning English.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And how are people usually finding out about ISAL? Is it yeah? How did they come to you?
Well, we do have some marketing, advertising. A lot of it is word of mouth. A
Okay.
lot of happy customers who are bringing their friends or um, spreading the word. We
Mm-hmm.
do use Google advertising, Google Maps.
I see. Is the majority the marketing side of things, or is it the word of mouth for you guys?
I want to say maybe 50-50. I don't. I mean, it's hard. It's everything is changing daily, so
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. But lately, I see a lot more word of mouth. A friend, somebody comes in, and then she shows up with two friends, which is
Mm.
it's amazing, and they love it.
Mm-hmm.
And they show up just because they want to learn, and they heard we're strict here, and it's like, yeah, we're strict here.
Like this actually works. That's
It
funny.
actually
Yeah.
works.
And
Yes.
is there? I know it's people from everywhere, all over the world. Doesn't matter the language, but is there a specific like part of the world, maybe South America, maybe a part of Asia that people really seem towards or seem very excited or look forward to more than other places to come learn with you guys?
Actually, everybody. We have people from China, we have people from Chile, we have people from Brazil, Eastern Europe. They're all when they come to Boston.
Hmm.
There are a number of other English language schools around, and we are considered one of the best
Hmm.
because we're very strict.
Hmm.
And no joke, you can't just come and sit here and do nothing.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of, you could see the motivation of people who are coming in the door because they want to learn. They have a purpose in life. We usually ask them when they come in, what, like, who do you want to be when you grow up? you know the $1 million question. And a lot of them either want to continue, their studies in United States,
Hmm.
or they have a business or they have a promotion that they want to apply to and they want to expand. We just had a couple coming from Brazil, and she's in sales. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here you
Yeah.
go. And the wife is in sales. I can't remember what the husband is doing, but they're all professionals. They speak English, but they understand that in order to advance it where they are right now, they need to improve. They
Yeah.
they
The
are
next
speaking,
level.
and so they're here and they work and they come to school. They actually physically came from Brazil to attend classes. So that's what puts a smile on my face, even though sometimes I'm a very strict.
You know what? I always remember something that I can't remember who in my life you say, but it's like as long as it gets the job done, because like it'll get the job done, and for now maybe they'll kind of like hate you a little bit. Oh my god, they're so strict and whatever else. But as soon as the reward is reaped, they're like, I am so glad you were the
Yeah.
way that you did, or we this worked out the way that it did, because if it wasn't the way that it was, then I wouldn't have what I have right now. So
Right.
it's
Right.
like I guess it's like the short term pain that we always have to have to be
Right.
able to find that fulfillment
Yeah.
in
Yes.
the at the back door, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
And what are some of some when looking at business and obviously I am in the assumption that you guys want to continue growing and want to continue impacting more people. What are some of the challenges that show up at your door in finding more people to become clients?
Unfortunately, there is a lot of fraud out there, and people selling something that is not real, and there are
Mm,
agents that are not very honest,
mm,
and plus all the changes in immigration laws, in policies, in politics, in economic economics of a particular country is very important, because if the exchange rate is not favorable, it's very hard. It's not a cheap process if they want to come here in a student visa. It's a long process. It's for some people it's very challenging because there are multi steps that they need to take, and even to get to the visa interview.
mm-hmm,
So it's a lot of, I want to say, a lot of red tape that
mm,
when people overcome that, I said, you just pass the first test. It's just if you can fill out an application, yay!
yeah.
Because it's a lot, and not everybody is up to a challenge when they. I mean, even if they want to come,
Hmm.
um, they have to have the financial ability to be able to come and guide themselves through the whole process from A to Z.
Hmm. Do you think there's a big aspect of trust then? You mentioned there's a lot of fraud out there.
I
Would you
think
say
there
that
is an
that's the
aspect of
main part of the
trust,
thing, or?
right? Because if you're sitting in a foreign country and this United States, Boston, and ISAL is something really, really abstract, and unfortunately, we know that in this world, not everybody is honest, and
Hmm.
people can take money, and you can never see. We had a couple of instances where students thought that they rented a room, and then they came here was nothing.
Mm,
So it's the trust is very important. So when they call us and when they talk to us on WhatsApp or any means of communication, we're open to it. And when
hmm.
they see that we're real, that we have our reviews are real, we
Yeah.
offer people to come in and just sit in class for one day for free, just
Mm.
to see that it's here, it's it
Legitimate.
exists, the classes are
Yeah.
running, the students are here,
Hmm.
you do get homework, and
Yeah.
um, so once they are here and they spend a day with us, they usually become our students.
Mm, interesting. And so it sounds like once that trust factor is kind of like solved, then it's like boom, let's do it. Like how can we make this happen?
Yes.
But before then, it's like, is there any challenge when it comes to developing maybe the awareness of who you guys are and that you guys exist for other countries? Maybe it's the hey, amazing people know us. How do we get even more people? Like, what are
Well,
some of the
that's
things that go
that's
through your head?
always that's the $1 million question. How
Okay.
do you get your name out there, especially how do you advertise in a foreign country? We do have agents that we work with,
Okay.
um, that we trust, and trust us, because it has to be mutual.
Of
Uh,
course. Just like yeah, just like the other trust, this trust as
yes,
well.
yes,
Yeah.
and again, word of mouth, and we always are looking for means of figuring out how, where, when to advertise. We never participated in big educational um, events abroad because it's just we're a small school, but we do work with agents, and I believe in human interaction and
Hmm.
establishing those bridges with actual people. That we actually had a guy who was here studying at Harvard, and he came in, he saw the school, then he went back. I believe it was Kazakhstan, and he sent us a student from there. And he told me that because they see me here and I've seen your school there, this is the trust that we
Mm.
know that you guys are real, and they're willing. People are willing to spend the money. That, and they know they will be greeted here, and they will get the quality education. The student is here right now.
Awesome. Very, very cool. I
Yeah,
always like hearing
yeah,
those stories as well.
yeah.
It's like people that I really love this thing. I gotta tell more people about it, and it's like,
Yes,
and
yes.
it's one of the parts of business that is it's the one of the only ones that are never gonna be linear because it was one people till two, two people till four, four till eight, eight
Right,
till 16.
right,
So
right.
it's just always that curve that keeps going. So
Yeah.
it's always awesome. And is there anything you wish you knew, Julia, before you kind of started this entire journey? Any maybe lessons that would have made things so much easier, so much faster, so much simpler for you?
That's not an easy question.
Yeah.
Personally, for me personally, I tend to trust people, and sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
backfires, and that's what I think I would be a little more cautious with some of the business decisions, just because not everything is up to me, and not everything is, and you can't control everything basically, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes like political climate is totally out of your control, but the business depends on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And or like COVID, that was boom.
Yeah.
um when the COVID hit, we turned around everything in 1 week, and we had everything online. We never stopped for a day.
Mm.
We had, the minute the pandemic was announced, we had classes running online, and everybody was in class.
Mm-hmm.
So it's life. I think it's experience. That's what's called life experience. You go and
Mm-hmm.
you overcome difficulties, and you encounter challenges. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I personally try to be a good person while dealing with all the turmoil around, and provide
Mm-hmm.
good quality service, and and treat people fairly and respectfully,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
that's also
Control.
important.
Yeah. Control what you can control, and what you can't control, you'll
Right,
deal with it
right,
then.
right. Do the best you can every day. Just do the best you can.
That's so so awesome. Is I would love to learn from you. Maybe one, two huge impact things that people can do to really accelerate, other than the immersion intensity and intention that we talked about, that to really just get people to start learning English faster, something that they can do. Maybe they aren't able to go to your
Right.
school, and they
What
just
we
want to
tell
be able to get
people,
faster. Yeah.
right. What we tell people when they come here, that you go to school, you will learn the grammar, you will practice speaking. But if you don't do things on your own, you're never gonna succeed, or
Hmm.
you're not gonna succeed as fast as you want. So there are,
Hmm.
as I tell everybody, there are four things in learning the language: is reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And usually reading and writing comes fairly easy to most of the people, because they, if you can read and write, yeah, that you learn that fastest.
Hmm.
Speaking and listening part are the hardest one, especially with all the accent, especially with the uh, people speaking English with different, kind of like, not different dialects, but it's very, because we're a melting pot.
Hmm.
People from all over the world
Yeah.
here.
Many
The
accents.
right, many accents. You need to have your ear tuned a little bit, and that
Hmm.
communication from your ear to the brain. So we tell them to listen to podcasts, to listen to audiobooks at least 15 minutes a day, and it's all about consistency. I'm it's like I'm saying it as a prayer to every student.
Yeah.
Do this and you will see the difference. And what's the amazing part is that once they start doing it, sometimes they don't believe it, but then they come in to have said, Julia, you were right, now I understand. So watch a movie without the subtitle, train you without the subtitles. I don't understand anything. I said, you watch it for first week, you're watching something you don't understand. Second week, you understand 3 words. But third week, you understand the sentence. And then you realize, oh my God, a month later, you can more or
Mhm.
less understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I can't even begin to tell you how many people did that and came in and said, oh my God, you were right. I wish I could
Mm.
patent that, you know, oh my God,
Yeah.
you were right.
Yeah,
So,
it's almost like people are, sorry to interrupt you, but it's almost like people, they are scared of being uncomfortable and
right.
not understanding. So they're like, I'm not gonna do it. But
Right,
if you're
because
able to
it's
overcome,
uncomfortable. It's easier
yeah,
to speak in your native language and it's easier to watch something in your native. But the minute you become a little bit uncomfortable,
yeah,
that going outside of your comfort zone is that's where the learning happens.
yeah,
That's when you push your brains and your
yeah,
ear and all your senses and you're listening really, really hard. But
hmm,
it's that hardness becomes easy, easy, easy. And then they start, oh my God, yes. I
yeah,
I watched the whole movie and I understand. I said, "Congratulations! Here's the candy." You know, it's
yeah.
it's so listening and reading are the two parts that people can do without the immersion. Because grammar, you need to. I strongly believe like grammar, you
Hmm.
need to study with a teacher who can
Yeah.
explain everything.
That's awesome. Yeah, and even the reading and listening, I think, sorry, the speaking and listening, I think what you mentioned about the movie, that's, I guess, a part of immersion as well, because they have to be fully
Right.
intentional with what they're doing. So
Yes.
even though they're, I guess, not immersed in the in the culture or in the environment, they still have to put their full attention and focus on it.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
that's totally
Yeah.
awesome. Julia, I have two more questions here for you, if that's okay.
Yep.
One is a question that I've been asking everyone, so we'll start with that one, which is this: if you had a magic wand and you could just wave this magic wand and you could solve one thing, only one thing in the business that would make you hitting your growth goals, your client goals, or whatever goals might be much easier. You solve an obstacle, you solve a challenge, you solve whatever it might be in the business, but just one thing. What would you like to solve?
Enrollment. Who get
Okay,
more students in here and make them happy and may help them achieve their goals.
awesome. So the increasing the impact, increasing
Yep.
the amount of people coming
Yep.
through. Awesome. And for the last question, it's actually not a question from me. It's a question from our last guest, which we just had on to you, and they had no idea who you were. Ready for the question?
Yes, as ready as it can be.
Okay, awesome. So here's the question: what was the scariest first conversation you had with a client, and how did you work your way through it? So maybe you have to think a little bit here. Maybe an early conversation, if you can remember the first conversation.
Wow, what was the scariest first conversation? I think when I had to explain what we do and how it works. When we just started,
Hmm.
that was. I think that was the hardest when we were very fresh. I was the new kid on the block and navigating the whole English as a second language business, and
Hmm.
I had like explain why they should come study with us than with any other school who is in business for a while was the hardest one. But
And how did you work your way through it?
I think I panicked after.
Okay.
I kept myself calm, but I I, um, I personally I'm a very calm, easygoing person, so I
Hmm.
kind of can um, probably like because I throughout the years of managing the school we had a lot of meltdowns
Okay.
because when people come from another country and we had instances where people never visited any other country and they always live their life in their own comfortable environment with
Yeah.
friends, family, and loved ones around it, language and transportation. And we had adults who literally had meltdowns. And
Mm.
my first degree is in psychology.
Mm.
So I think that's where it came handy. And I'm also a mom. So
Okay.
that all my skills of um, the people skills was what helped
Hmm.
me
Yep,
push
helps
through
you go
the
through it.
difficult conversations or through the meltdowns. And I can't remember any situation where I was not able to de-escalate
Hmm.
um, what we were dealing with and turn a person from tears to a smile at the end.
That's so awesome.
And
That's so.
they would walk out feeling calm with my phone number in their phone where they could call. I actually have some students who are no longer with us still calling me
Oh wow.
because I was that first, I came from a foreign country. I've never been here. Oh my God, what am I
Hmm.
doing? And like, where do I go and who do I run to?
Yeah, you're the place of peace.
And I said,
Yeah.
no brain surgery is being done here. Nobody's just called
Yeah.
Julia. And I always tell them, if you panic and you don't know something, which is normal, it all happens to all of us, just call me. No
Awesome.
matter what time it is, no matter where you are, just call me. And I usually pick up the phone. I guess because I'm a mom, I always pick up the phone. So, and it's the same. It applies to all of our students. Just call me, and I'll be there. And a lot of times, de-escalation. We had people screaming, yelling, losing their. I don't want to swear.
You can if you want.
Yeah, losing their shit, literally losing, and adults. So, and we were able to de-escalate and calm the situation, figure out the solution, and help
Hmm.
them to move on. And just it brings them to a totally different level. Because
Yeah.
if you're not relaxed, if you're not calm, if you're under constant stress, you can't learn anything. It's no
Hmm.
matter what you do, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
So
because their head is somewhere else.
right,
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Once you are relaxed, you can smile, you can laugh, you can learn.
Hmm.
And that's what.
Awesome.
So my other job is the psychotherapy
Awesome.
office, and then where we solve the issues. There's nothing that cannot be solved. Whether you
Hmm.
like the solution or not, that's another story. But
Yeah.
we know the solution, and we can always get to the point. So yeah,
Amazing. Julia, thank you so much
yeah.
for this
Thank
conversation.
you.
This was awesome. Where should people go if they want to maybe learn a little bit more about you or ISL?
ISALUSA.com. It's everything on the website. We'll be happy to answer any questions. We're always here.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Julia.
Thank
Thank you for your
you.
time.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.